upon you be peace.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and you are now listening to Shakil and Company on America's Islamic Radio. I'm your host, Kevin Shakil, and today's been such a heavy interview day that I had to bring Shariar back.
Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Doing well, how are you, boss?
Good, alhamdulillah.
So today we have Ihsan, Easy, one of the
Bajori.
Bajori,
Yeah, there you go.
one of the pioneers right now. He has a lot going on in his life. He has YouTube videos that have hits and hits and hits. He is one of these guys that have been one of the pioneers, I can say, of what's going on. So we're gonna, just get started and introduce himself.
That's a heavy statement. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ihsan Easy Bajori. That's E-A-Z-Y, not an E and a Z.
I've been putting easy,
I
bro.
know, that's
I'm not gonna lie, I
that's
did
why I
the
had to
same
throw it out
thing.
there.
I did the same thing.
So introduce yourself, boss.
How you guys doing? I'm Ihsan. I don't really want to introduce myself. I want you guys to ask some questions, and then from there we'll go on.
All
I'll
right.
start. Let's
'Cause I
start.
like
let's
deep
start
questions.
with let's start with the small stuff like age and residence. What are you doing right now?
I'm 29 years old. I currently live in Melville, Long Island. Born and raised in the Bronx. Moved to Queens in about 2000, 2001. From there, we just moved to Long Island actually last year.
Okay, all right.
Welcome to the island.
Yes,
How do you like it over
How you
here?
like it?
It's a drive, man.
There's
It's
no.
a drive. I got a lease car too, so it's a drive.
Wow.
What part of Bronx were you born? and
Mobile
raised?
Hill.
Mobile Hill. Okay.
Mobile Hill. Yeah.
So what do you do? What do you
I'm
do
a
for a
general
living?
manager for a gym right now. It's called Retro Fitness. It's in Astoria. So as you can see, I got to drive from Long Island all the way to Astoria.
Wow, that's a drive.
Wow.
Yes.
I think I should take some advice from some PTs right now.
You know what? That's a whole different interview.
Right?
Health and fitness.
That'd be crazy, right?
That would be crazy. You know what intrigued me the most about Hassan is the videos that you started posting
I
recently.
appreciate that.
I was just randomly on, my social media browsing, and obviously your face came up in a video. And we're more likely to watch videos than read long articles these days. So, and I hit play on the first one. Just the title of it, the shooting of it. I was like, you know what, this is interesting because this is a topic that nobody wants to talk about openly. And he made a YouTube channel out of it. So I gotta talk to this guy.
Yeah, it's crazy too because he messaged me, and I saw we had mutual friends, but I was like, I don't know who this guy is. And then he was just like, I like your videos, and I was like, wow, like, like even when like one of the things that came up when I started this YouTube thing, I was exactly like, I don't only want to reach out to the people I know. I want to see if strangers actually connect with me, and that's exactly what happened. So I was just like, wow. I was like, that's crazy. And then I actually ran into him one day, and he's like, yo, bro. And I'm like, why does your face look familiar? He's like, oh, I messaged you. I was like,
Because
oh.
you stalked him on
Right,
Facebook.
I'm never shy to approach people I know on social media.
No, but it was great. Like
yeah.
I was really, really impressed. I was like for myself because I was like, wow, I'm actually like somebody actually likes my craft. You know what I mean? And it was fresh too. It was like after the first video.
Yep.
So I was kind of like, wow, like you know what? You are making a difference probably.
Yep.
You know what I mean? For
I-
somebody a stranger to notice, it feels great. It's
I
humbling.
looked into it beyond just the content. I was like, somebody took the time and effort, the supplies, the energy, the setup, all that,
appreciate
and to me, it was like, somebody's really making an effort. And I think whenever anybody's making an effort, friends or people from social circle, we're key. We're important to just push that person to the next one. So
appreciate
from
that
1 to
a lot.
2, I wanted to see 2, and he's up to like 4 or 5 videos now. So.
I got five from the Lord.
Five.
Yeah, five.
So I mean, you did all of this, right? What inspired you to make the YouTube videos?
Just life experiences, man. I went through a lot of stuff, and for a lot of it, I was alone. Not that I didn't have anybody, but a lot of it, sometimes I just went through alone, and it's like, I guess my pride didn't want me to ask for help either, and sometimes I was like, I don't know if I do have help. So from there, it just went on where I just took care of a lot of things that I went through alone. When you go through it alone, it's good, but there's also negatives involved, just like anything in life. There's always good
True.
and bad. So I thought about it, and I'm like, wow, like I went through all of this, and I thought maybe it could have been different if I had somebody else, like somebody there to guide me, somebody there to tell me, like, listen, if you go through this, the outcome is this. So do you really want to take that route? Instead, I was just going in there blindly. So I thought about it, and I'm like, wow, you know what? Let me try to help others. So what happened was, it just so happened that I just had a few friends that were going through something, and they would talk to me, and I don't know why, but in the beginning it was kind of like, all right, you want to talk to me? Cool. Like, I guess I'm a good person to talk to. But people like you're easy to talk to, and like I listen, and they started venting to me, so I started helping people, and then from there it was like, how do I reach the masses? You know what I mean? Like, how do I just not only help the people I know, but help maybe others that are going through something? Because I don't like things that I went through. I really don't want other people to go through. Not because it was negative or bad. It's just because I know how it feels firsthand. You know what I mean?
That part really hit the nail on the head for me, because I had a certain phase also where I was literally going online and searching for life coaching and certain small habits to get out of, and stuff like that. And it's really not that relatable if you're watching a person who already has like 5 million views and like 18,000 comments, and you're like, all right, he's just talking to a whole big audience right now. And a part of me wanted to feel special, like we all do. And his video, because it was from somebody, a familiar face, the content itself was just so relatable. I mean, first one, and I was hooked. I was like, this sounds like an online Big Brother type of thing where you could actually get words out.
That's exactly what it is.
It was great. Yeah.
It's so funny, the fact that he said he went online, right? So the reason I was like, how do I get to the masses? And I'm like, the era we're in is social media.
Yep.
So what better usage of it am I going to do rather than just posting pictures of myself all the time, selfies and all
That's
that.
what I do.
I was like, why don't I do something bigger? So that's when YouTube came up. And I'm like, you know what? Let me start YouTube. And from there, it just went on. And that's the thing. Like, all my material is raw. Everything that I'm writing about is from experience. It's not like something like people, when I started this and they saw the video, people gave their feedback, which I love. But people were like, oh, look at this guy, watch this person, or read this. Honestly, to this day, I haven't heard or read anything. I don't watch anybody. I'm not going to lie, I've seen some Gary Vee videos, but that was prior to. But the thing is, with me, is raw. One of my, my partner right here, Furkan, a.k.a. Poster Child.
Shout out Poster Child.
There you go. He'll tell you himself, a lot of the material I write literally before we start recording.
So,
you know why? Because I like raw. So whatever comes to my mind. The only thing, even sometime while we're recording, he's like, you got to edit this because spelling checks and grammar and all
right.
that.
That's actually, I'm glad you touched on that, because that was my other question. When this content come up, how do you put it down? Is it like are you a tangible kind of a guy? You're writing it down on a paper, or are you typing
notes,
it up?
Straight notes on my phone. Like, whatever I feel. So, like, don't get it twisted. There's a lot of topics that I have. Like, if I pull up my phone right now, my notes, I have probably like 30, 40 topics.
Right.
But a lot of them aren't finished. So what it is I'll write a line, right? Or I write a quote, or I write like a title, or however I'm feeling. Or if I just had a conversation with somebody and they're like, oh, I went through this, this, and this. And I'm like, wow, like, you went through this, you know what? Other people might go through it. Did I go through it?
Right.
And if I did I experience it in any way? Maybe if I heard it from somebody or if I did it myself. So that's when I'm like, you know what? This should be a topic. This definitely should be a topic.
Right.
The reason I made the first video, like, I have a bunch of topics. How do I pick which one to do?
Sure.
I just sit there and I think about what's the most relatable to others right now, currently.
Okay.
The first topic I did, the reason it got that many hits is post-breakup.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through that.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed that first video a lot. I think it was titled How to Overcome a Breakup.
Yeah.
I had a couple of questions regarding that. I mean,
ahead.
starting with the basic ones. And you could, I know you're the kind of guy who's not afraid to go into details.
Very blunt, yeah.
Very, very open book.
Yeah.
And it's almost a blessing, because not everybody could do that, believe me.
Appreciate that.
How did this topic, this idea, all of it generate? I mean, what triggered this specific topic? Was it like a personal event, or?
Of course. I mean, like I said, everything is personal. But, of course, in back of everybody's mind, there's, I always tell people, I actually made a story about this the other day. To me, there's three things that are negative and the common denominator of everything in life, right? Hope, right? Because hope is good and bad, depending on how you look at it. The unknown and fear. That's the common denominator of everything negative. So the first video is fear. The fear of letting go. The fear of getting over somebody. The fear of now realizing you're going to be alone.
Right.
So my whole thing was, that first video was about a breakup of mine, but not during that time. But I went through a ongoing countless amount of year relationship that I had to end.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was always in back of my head.
Right.
So it's like what I went through is common.
Right.
You know what I mean? I look at it like that's how everybody looks at it. They look at their story and they're like, nah, I went through something crazy, man.
Right.
Like, you don't understand. And I'm looking at them, all right, try me.
Right.
Like, every pain, like, no matter what, love is love, right? But love, there's different phases of love. There's different forms of love. Pain is pain. if somebody had somebody died, that's pain, right? If somebody lost somebody, like in terms of relationship, that's pain. All of that is the same. At the end of the day, you feel pain the same. You
Right.
might feel love differently, but
Right.
pain is the same.
Right.
So when somebody tells me their problems and they're like, "Oh, I'm going through this," but you don't understand, I'm like, "Try me."
Right.
You know, like I hate that people say that to each other because it's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an average Joe can come up and tell you, like, "Yo, listen, I went through this, this, and this." You might not have been in that same situation, but you know the feeling.
Right.
Everybody knows the feeling of losing somebody,
Right.
not just to death, but in their lives.
It all comes back to like a support system, I think, almost,
Exactly.
and not to sound controversial here, but I feel like, females have a great setup when it comes to support.
Yeah.
They hype each
They have
other
the group
up.
chats.
Right. But for guys, we kind of corner ourselves out, we like
That's our fault. See,
Right.
that's the thing, right? Like, I'm the type of person, I wear my heart on my sleeve most of the time, right?
Right.
I'm very quiet in general, unless I know you, then I'm talkative.
Right.
You understand? So the thing with guys is that fear. It's that unknown.
Yeah.
You know, a guy could get break up with his girl, right? Or she'll break up with him,
Right.
and his boys will come up. What happened? Nah, I had to leave her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm done. Like, they're so scared of telling how it really is. Where
Sure.
a girl is an open book with their friends.
Right.
Like this, and this happened. They'll go into
Right.
detail. A
Right.
guy's like, nah, it wasn't working out. I'm done with her.
Right.
Just because he doesn't want to look bad.
Right.
So that's why a guy can't really go to another guy or
It's-
go to anybody and be
it's-
like, yo.
So
I'm
I
hurting.
mean, do you think we should create a platform where, like a brothers network, where if somebody's going through something, where we can, have discussions where it stays intimate?
If you look at my description in every video, I have my Instagram link there, right?
Okay.
And the reason I have that is because I want people to DM me.
Okay.
You understand? Like, this that I'm doing is a hobby. I want to help people, right? And I don't shy away from anybody hitting me up. If anybody wants to direct message me and like, listen, it's already happened. But if somebody hits me up and they're like, hey, I don't know you, but I'm going through this, this, and this, I got you. I'm there. This is what I created for a reason. This is what I want. I mean, again, like I said in the beginning of the interview, my friends, of course, I want to help them too, but I want to help strangers more. That's what my passion is, to help people I don't know. Because it's easier for somebody to talk to that they don't know, most of the time.
Right.
That's a pretty.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pretty
it's
deep.
tons of ways of giving back to the community, and this is one of them,
Mm-hmm.
because the youth is the community, and the way he's describing it, it almost sounds like for a lot of guys, you will just sweep it under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, eventually, when you grab a vacuum, it's still there.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know,
And it
didn't-
builds up.
It builds up,
builds
and
up.
that's
Everything
that's
catches
when
up
we're
to you.
dangerous.
Yes.
Yep.
That's when we act crazy.
That's when you
because
have
it's
depression.
all that buildup.
That's when you have depression. You
Yep.
have mental health issues and all that.
And that was my video. Like, like the topics that I'm picking is for a reason. I got something in the making, inshallah, hopefully it happens, but I'm going to be talking in schools. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Oh,
So
wow,
I have
mashallah.
2 different sources that's helping me out, where I can go to middle schools and high schools and talk to students.
There's an initiative called My Brother's Keeper that was actually started by President Obama within schools, where you
Yeah,
that you
you
actually
mentioned that
go
to me.
and you mentor these kids, and they have events and you go to. I don't know if I've told children.
Absolutely.
You go to the schools and like they give you a group of kids that you're with, and then you talk about life issues. You see what they're going through, and
Yeah.
you help in any way. It's like a mentorship.
Yeah, I don't look. I'm not. This is not my shot to become YouTube famous and all this other fame stuff. Because a lot of people do that, and I'm not knocking them. That's just not me. At the end of the day, my goal is to help people.
Yeah.
So this interview that I'm doing was an opportunity, maybe for me to help people. Maybe even if like 5 people listen to it, one of them I can help
Absolutely.
them.
Yep.
So same thing with the schools things that I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to the youth because right now they're in that stage that I was in back in the day. I didn't have somebody during high school to tell me like do this, this, and this. I had I had my older brother, of course, which I learned a lot from. Without him even probably knowing, I learned a lot from him. But at the end of the day, he had his own life to do, and that's the thing.
Right.
Everybody has things on their own plate.
Right.
So how can they come to yours? So I'm trying to let them know, like, listen, I'm here for you. I'm a stranger, but here's my material. You see my videos. I hope you could trust me a little bit.
No, but I mean,
You know what I
that's
mean?
the issue other people kind of do have. Like, let's say I'm going through an issue, right? I don't want to discuss it with anybody, and then I see your videos, and I'm just like,
It's
should I-
relatable.
Yeah, it's relatable, and I'm just like, should
See,
I
I
hit
said
him up?
it in
Should
the
I not?
video. I said a lot of people are ashamed. So there's 2 things, right? Nobody wants to go talk to like a psychologist or something because they feel like they're gonna judge them, right? And they feel like they don't really know them. So how can you openly talk to a psychologist when you're like, yo, you don't know me? Like, you understand? You don't know what I'm going through. So yeah,
Yep.
you have that mentality. Most people do, right? But then you have your friends where you feel like they're gonna judge you and make fun out of you.
Yep.
So it's like if I go to my boy and I'm like, yo, listen, man, I'm hurting right now, right? And before I even tell him what I'm hurting about, he's probably laughing at me. And he's like, oh, E hurting. Like, come on, man. Like, so it's that type of response that people get that turns them off. So here I am saying, like, oh, listen, I'm here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if these are my stories, right? Kind of, I'm conveying it in the videos. So you see what the things I'm talking about is clearly from experience. I didn't read it online and just copy and paste and say whatever's written. It's coming from the heart.
Could you shed some light on the idea of being alone at a time where you feel that all you need is company, whether
Yeah,
it's
man.
friends or family, but if you isolate yourself in that very time, what could you really gain out of it?
What you could gain is peace of mind. You understand? So like a lot of people, they go through something and you see it in movies, TV shows, and real life where it's like, oh, all I need is a tub of ice cream and my girlfriends. Like a lot of girls say that, you know what I mean? Or they just need they need to be around people they love. I'm not saying don't do that. What I'm saying is a lot of people nowadays, they'll break up with somebody and right away they feel like they need to not jump into another relationship necessarily, but they need to go out. They need to meet other people. They need to talk to somebody else. We have this thing in us, a lot of people, where we need to constantly text somebody all day. You know, it could be multiple people, but we always need to have that connection with somebody. I don't really know a lot of people that don't talk to somebody every day.
Right.
There's at least one
Right.
person everybody. If you're in a relationship with them, it's different. But if you're not, then okay. I just want people to understand. Like, listen, the fear of being alone is not bad. It's hard in the beginning, just like everything is, right? So say
Absolutely.
you're in a relationship with somebody and you guys break up. Now your whole life is probably twisted upside down because this is probably somebody you've seen like 5, 6 times a week, somebody you talk to every day, spent countless amount of hours with, and now all of a sudden they're removed from your life.
Yeah.
What if you dropped all your friends for that person? You used to see him every day. Now what are you gonna do? Now you just feel lost. You know, you feel like you literally got dropped off on the street by your parents,
Yeah,
and
it's
you have
a
nowhere to
routine
go.
change that you can't.
Exactly. My whole thing is like, look, once you become alone and you face all the hardships, you won't have that fear of losing somebody that easily.
Right.
That's what I try to tell people. Like, if I'm in a relationship and I lose that girl, I take some time, I learn how to be alone, and I appreciate myself. You know, like, I could do this alone. I'm good. I don't really need somebody to make me happy, but it's not a bad thing if somebody does. Now, if I get in another relationship and I lose that person, it won't be that hard for me because I've been down this road.
Plus-
I'm not scared of being alone.
Right, and you probably pick up good habits on your own self
Of course.
between.
You have to love yourself before you could even love somebody else.
So let me ask you on the other end of the spectrum. We talked about being alone. Let's talk about all this social media hype
Oh,
because
man.
that's just been killing me. I mean, this whole putting up a facade of
Oh, that was
it's
my
all
video
peaches
also.
and cream, and I am just lit. Everything is perfect, and the sad part
Lit,
is
the word of 2018,
it's still
right?
going. It's
Lit.
and it's really like, at what point do you decide that we get it and it doesn't matter?
It's not gonna happen.
And also, do you ever sit down for people that are putting on most people? Do you ever sit down with yourself and you ask yourself, am I really this happy? If I run into somebody on a bad day, are they gonna be shocked to see the real me as opposed to what I've been posting? And then touch a little bit on this clout, this hype, especially again. For guys, I know it's not the same. We post something, we never get the same kind of attention, and it messes with people's heads. It messes with their heads big time. I mean, I have a strong, social circle that I keep close with, so it keeps me going.
That's great.
But if you have someone that's already lacking in that department, and then you got, their best picture of the week gets like 4 likes, and they're just like sitting there, man, am I really worth nothing? And I know people, like first name basis, they actually take it to heart. So this social media hype and how you can kind of steer clear, enjoy it, but then don't get lost in it.
I'm more involved in social media now because of my videos, right?
Right.
Even
This is
if-
part. I'm sorry. This is a part of your third video that you mentioned social
yeah,
media.
of course.
Yeah.
And I touch base on it, right? Because
Yeah.
this is something that when I think about it, I laugh. You know what I mean? Like, people love putting on a facade for other people. It's like, rather than you taking the energy and trying to, like, be positive for yourself and trying to, like, fix yourself, you rather just fake it. And, that's where that term came from, you fake it till you make it, right?
Right.
But this is completely different. Some people are miserable inside, but you won't tell because every day they're posting videos of them in the club, popping bottles and doing all this other stuff. So at the end of the day, are you really happy? I don't think people actually ask themselves that, and a lot of people don't even know that they're not happy. People just want to put on this image and this front for everybody, and that's why like these designer stuff are making money.
Right.
You know, you got these companies like Supreme that are making a lot of money. Why? Because people want that Supreme item because it's limited, and once they have it, people
Fashion
look
Nova.
at it. Yeah, people look at it and they're like, "Oh, you got Supreme," like, you know, and they feel good about themselves.
Right.
So an item is making you happy. Rather than you actually doing something like a good deed that should make you happy,
True.
an item is making you happy. So now you want to dress up. It's like a lot of people, I'm like, yo, let's meet up here. Hold on, I got to get ready. Bro, we're just going down the block. Nah, hold on. What if I run into somebody?
Right.
Like, you see, like, that whole mentality right there. It's like, what does it matter? Who you really trying to impress?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So you are now tuned into Shakil and Company on American Islamic Radio. We're having a very, very, very deep conversation
Yeah, it's a little
with Easy right
Already
now.
into it.
It's very deep already.
I love this. This
Yeah.
is what I love. Like, right now, I'm inside it. I'm going crazy.
So I have a question for you now.
What's going on?
So we're talking about all of this that happened to you. What triggered all of this for you? Like why? Like what was that factor where, you know, like I want to do this? What was that breaking point?
Well, honestly, this is something I wanted to do for a couple years now. I just didn't know how to. I didn't know how to approach it. I didn't really know what items to get or how to do it. I don't know how to edit videos or even record or take pictures or anything. You know what I mean? So it was just, it was just like I was trying to improve my life. You know what I mean? And I've been trying to improve my life for a very long time now, and it's still in the process. So I felt like right when I felt good about myself and I felt happy with myself, I was like, I think I'm ready now. And that was this year. You know what I mean? And alhamdulillah, I have such great friends like Furkan, where it was like, yo, listen, do you know how to do this? He's like, not really, but you know what? I could dibble dabble with it and I could see what I could do. And honestly, like since the first video, he'll tell you like, we were sitting there and we were horrible. and not in terms of like what we were doing, but just the timing. I could tell he was getting so frustrated with me. I kept stuttering. I didn't have a script really. I was just going off, I had something written, but I was just going off the top. And he was just getting upset because he had to keep stopping. And he was like, all right, take 100. Take 200.
Kevin is laughing now, and I know exactly why. A little while ago when we were talking about bringing you on, I sat down, I was watching all your videos, I was, writing notes, I was just looking into all the stuff, right? Because, you see it on the surface, but to really decipher it. So there was a point where I told Kevin, I said, in his third video, his quality of talking on camera, it changes drastically. First and second was okay, and then third one, he's just fluent on camera, like he's talking to me directly. Yeah. And I have a note to bring that up when you came in here, and I will, that your improvement, mashallah, was visible.
You could actually see it.
Yeah.
Not even audio-wise.
So here's the thing, right?
Visually.
Yeah.
I'm not rich. like that's plain and simple. I'm not rich.
Touche.
You know what I mean?
Touche.
Yeah, we all work hard for our money. So you could consider the first one a bootleg. The first video. We had a camera. We didn't have lighting. We didn't even have a tripod. Literally, what we did was we grabbed a huge speaker. We put a bunch of boxes on top.
That's it.
And we had the laptop sitting on that. And then on another bunch of boxes and an aluminum foil box, we had the camera. So,
Support.
I was literally there hitting that. And all we had was a black backdrop. That's it.
Yeah.
So a camera and that. So we like, oh, wow, we did great. So we did the first one. We thought it was a great job. Everybody, good feedback. Second one, same thing, right? Mind you, I was sitting on a chair on the armrest. The chair was sideways, okay? I wasn't standing.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
I was watching a lot of the stuff, but I was like,
When I tell you my behind was in pain, it was in pain, okay?
Wow.
So then the third one, finally, a friend got me lights. And,
Right.
I was like, oh, wow, like lights. Okay, how much of a difference can it make? Clearly, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
That's a good friend.
Difference,
Yeah.
It's a good friend. Speaking of good friends, again, shout out to DJ Posterchild. He's been killing it for a while.
Man. Alhamdulillah. It's a blessing.
I want to ask you something regarding music, just to lighten things up a little bit. In terms of
things up
yeah.
This is getting really deep right now.
Average viewer is like, wow, I'm getting uncomfortable at home watching this. They're getting into it already. Music-wise, all right. Hip hop artist, you know.
Ooh, yeah.
Because in your third video you quoted Jay-Z.
Of
You know, and I
course.
have the quote. It says, "Nobody built like you design yourself."
Yep.
Right.
Nobody
So
built like you. You design yourself.
so talk a little bit about your life and how music affected that also.
Man, music is like one of the hardest things to let go. You know what I mean? From an Islamic standpoint, I believe in balance. So anything that I try to like, that I feel like I can let go, I let go. You know what I mean? And of course, nobody's perfect. Everybody sins, right? Music is one of them. And music I love. It's a passion of mine. Music is like me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could sit there in the car. Like, I surprised so many people in the car, especially the ladies. Like back in the day, I surprised. I like literally like we there, and I have a nighttime playlist. You know what I mean? I have an R&B playlist. Like, and I'm talking about '90s. You know what I mean?
Right.
I got some Drew Hill on there, some Jagged Edge. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I throw that on, and a lot of people are looking at me like, "What
You
the
listen
hell?"
to this?
Yeah,
What
because
are you
in the
doing?
daytime when we're hanging out, in the afternoon, I got my hip hop on because
Right.
I'm a mood person. So at night, past like 11 p.m., I don't play no hip hop. You know
Right.
what I mean?
It
I'm a
changes
straight
out.
R&B mood.
Yeah.
So in the daytime, it's like some DMX, some Jay-Z, some Nas. So they're bumping to. They're like, all right, makes sense, right? Because everybody judges me by the way I look, right, and the way I talk and everything. Then at nighttime, you see me, let's like, I don't see, and I'm looking at you like, what? Like, what's going on here? It doesn't add up.
What's this fair balance between music and Islam? I mean, I know there's a lot of talk
Controversy
on,
and
a
a
lot
lot
of
of-
controversy. You know, I mean, when I used to DJ, I've attended big weddings. I mean, 600-700 people, split crowd. You know,
Yeah.
there's a curtain right in between, and you only gotta play in the sheets. And I'm like, I'm getting paid. I don't care.
Yeah, the
But-
hijabs come off
right.
and the girls are just...
it's on the whole lady's side, you
Yeah.
know. So my point is, there is these extreme ends when
Yeah.
it comes to music. Where do you draw the line for yourself? Because me personally, you know what, I listen to music a lot.
We all do.
And
do.
when it's just time to have a quiet moment, you know, I'll turn it down or turn it off. But I have to be kind of in that mood, in that zone, to not be listening to music the whole day. You know, open up the sheets and listen to all that stuff. It's a whole day for me. It's a whole ceremony for me. I don't just randomly. I won't go from Takashi to like, you know, not.
Oh,
I
that's-
can't.
I do.
I actually do that. That's the crazy part. So I would
Just-
go from Jay-Z
Yeah,
and I would go to Summer Yusuf. I'm just like, whoa.
that was a
That was
quite
a very big
transition.
transition.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I feel better.
I apologize for him bringing up Takashi.
Well, it's all over. It's
all
not,
over.
Not on my phone, Playboy.
Yeah.
Not
No,
on my
I mean
phone.
with all that's going on
Yeah,
with
of course.
cases and
look,
stuff.
I mean, I don't wish jail on nobody, but I don't
Yeah,
really
it's
care
tough.
for a guy like that. You know,
It's
I feel,
tough.
I sympathize, because of what he's going through. But
Sure.
that's on him.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's on him.
Yeah.
You know, he loves. He's sponsored by 50.
Yeah, we're not even
We're
gonna
not,
get
we're
into
not
all
even going to go there.
that.
That's
It's a whole different story.
'Cause as you can see, I was getting ready.
yeah,
He was like, "Let me bring the hip hop back
Yeah,
up."
yeah.
back to the music thing, right? So like I believe in a balance in Islam, and I feel like a lot of people lack that nowadays. You know what I mean? Like even talking about Islam, like I can go on and on, right? But my whole thing is at the end of the day, I know it's a weakness of mine, right? I go with it until I feel like it's a really, really, really weak part of me. And then that's when I'm like, I take a step back, just like I do for anything, and I'm like, whoa, this is becoming an addiction, or this is taking over my life. I listen to music in a moderation, and I just pray that it doesn't take over my life.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's between me and God. You know what I
Right.
mean? So when I know that I listen to music, I try to do other things, to just keep that balance going.
Right. I've seen Kevin. Usually, when you drive around, you have no music on. You sometimes you just drive in silence and you post it. What's that?
No,
about?
no. So that's me actually posting it with the music on, and Instagram messing it up and not taking in the audio. So it's a
I'm
silence.
like, that's different. Everybody posts with them driving and listening to music. He's just quiet, just on the parkway. What's
I
going
do that a
on?
lot too. I do
Oh,
that
yeah?
a lot too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be like that sometimes.
I'm just like this in the car.
So where do you see yourself going with this in like the next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years?
That's new. Okay, I don't know. To be honest, I just really want to help people. So like whatever platform I'm on, I just want to help people. So whether it's me talking to masses, or just me going to different schools or colleges and just talking to people, or having maybe even a program. For years I wanted like a nonprofit organization where I just have a bunch of kids there, and I have people like me just like mentoring them. You know what I mean? So like a camp per se, but like deeper. You know what I mean? Where we actually, because kids go to camp and then they just play and things like that. But do we actually talk to children? Like, do we talk to kids and be like, listen, this is this is real life. You know, because people get a reality check, and it's good to learn on your own. Trust me, because I'm living proof of it. Right? It's good to learn on your own, but at the end of the day, sometimes you wish that you had somebody tell you otherwise.
You wish you had like that kind of guidance.
Yes, guidance.
I think
Guidance
that's
is
what
key,
that's
and
what
I pray
the
for that a lot.
I think that's what the youth really need right now. Where
Big
they need
time
guidance.
I mean,
where-
he talked about looking at his own older brother for some guidance. I mean,
Yeah, man.
that I listened to that and I think of myself. I didn't have one, so there's a big difference
Yeah,
between.
I had my older brother. I have. Alhamdulillah. I have my older brother. He's 10 years older than me. You know,
Mashallah.
he helps me out a lot. But at the end of the day, I don't always listen to him. And
Right.
plus, even before, like younger, he had his own things going on.
Right.
So he can't sit there and mentor me all the time. But he did it. He did what he can. I have
Right.
cousins that also help me. I have home. Like me, I'm very close with a lot of people. You know what I
Right.
mean? Some
Right.
people don't like going to places with me because they feel like I know everybody. Like
Right.
even back in high school, I used to go to Queens Center Mall, and people hated going with me because every other person is giving me a dap, and they're
Right.
like how many?
You
people
can use
know?
that to your benefit
Exactly.
now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's it's not the same, but
Yeah.
it's good, man. Alhamdulillah. But you have to, like, you know what I mean? Alhamdulillah, you have to know other people because, we're on this earth for a reason. So that's what we can't forget that.
Right.
There's a purpose for us here.
Right.
It's not just enjoy dunya
Right.
and forget deen.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's happening a lot now.
Right.
right.
But I know you guys are gonna touch on that soon, so I'm gonna keep quiet for that. There.
Go ahead, Kevin.
So how do you balance that between dunya and deen? Dunya meaning the world, like
Yeah.
like dunya means like the world, like how we're living every day
course.
right now, right? How do you balance?
You go through, you hit rock bottom. Well, that's what happened for me. You know what I mean? My family was not religious at all. When we lived in the Bronx, the closest mosque to us was like a 15, 20-minute drive. So we weren't going. Forget regularly. We weren't really going. If anything, a Jummah here and there. My brother went through some hard times. He grew up and went to Catholic school. So then, he had a couple of reality checks with life. And, quick funny story. He was basically always late to work, and he used to work in Nike Town in the city. And one time there was a cop standing on the car. He was leaning, and my brother was about to cross the street, and he was about to jaywalk technically, right?
Right.
So the cop stops him, and he's like, "Oh, what happened? You running late?" And my brother was like, "What?" He's like, "What? You ain't read Fajr this morning?" And my brother's looking at him like, it's an African American guy. He's like, how the hell can you just know that I'm Muslim? And my brother's like, what? He's like, you ain't read Fajr this morning? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, clearly you ain't make your morning prayer if you're running late, because if you made your morning prayer,
Wow.
you wouldn't be late. So my brother always says the cop looked like Carl Winslow from the show Family Matters. He's like,
Imagine
"He's
getting
eating a
pulled
peach."
over for speeding, and the cop
Yeah,
tells you
and
this.
the cop was just standing on his car, leaning on his car, and then my brother was like, what are you talking? He's like, well, you got a Allah chain on. So I know you Muslim, but and my brother was just looking at that. He's
That's
like,
really
wow,
deep.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that
So
would.
then after that, he started praying Fajr. Guess what? He wasn't late.
Late anymore.
So my family went through a lot. So then, when we moved to Queens, we started in the Bronx, and then we moved to Queens, alhamdulillah, and the closest mosque was 5 minutes away walking.
Wow.
Masjid Swalihin. It's in Kew Gardens Hill. It's I love that place. I still go there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we moved there, and then the mosque was right there. You know what I mean? And then, there's so many great brothers over there. I have so many friends that I met in school and in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? And the list can go on. The Afghan community there is amazing. And we started going to the mosque more. And the whole mindset just started changing. But of course, for me, I had phases with Islam, just like I have phases with everything, just like people have phases. So there was time where I was super going to the mosque all the time and just all about Islam, and then I took a step back because that's what happens. Like when you get closer to God, Shaitan tries to pull you back. You know what I mean? So I've been fighting him my whole life, just like you guys. So any chance I got, but I was weaker. You know what I mean? My iman wasn't as strong, and for that, I had to keep fighting. So I went through different phases,
Right.
and then I went through 2 years of depression. So in those 2 years, I just stayed home a lot, and I just watched TV shows. I didn't really go out. I rarely went out. One of my really close friends, Imran, he was one of the only ones that would take me out, and I'll be like, yo, bro, I'm embarrassed because I can't pay,
Right.
and he'd be like, who asked you for money?
Right.
Like, I'm here,
Right.
and he would take me, and he would he'd get me food, and we'd go for hookah, and he'd put in my half. And at that time, I felt like shit. You know what I mean? But that's how great of a person he is, that he was like, I don't care for your money. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're my boy.
Right.
And a lot of people didn't even know I was going through depression. It was just more so like, nah, I don't
That's
wanna hang
usually
out.
how
That's
it
how
is.
usually it is.
Exactly. So you see, I literally would just stay at home, no job, no school, no nothing,
Yeah.
no Islam.
Yeah.
So I'm just going. I'm having anxiety attacks. I'm stressed. I'm just feeling all types of stuff. And then it's like, how do you get out of that? You know what I mean?
That's what I was gonna ask you. How did you get out of that?
Honestly, praying. I'll be completely honest, cause I tried so many things, and it's like that's what people do, right? So a lot of people they like to stick with what they know, right? So it's like, oh, I have a headache, I'm gonna take Advil. Cool. You keep taking Advil until Advil don't work, right? Some people are so stubborn that like, nah, I'm still gonna take Advil. That's not the reason why I'm still having headache. But some people will be like, you know what? Let me try Tylenol, and then they'll branch out to Tylenol. Then some people are like, nah, let me branch out to Motrin. I tried so many things, nothing was helping. It was all like temporary. And I use that word temporary a lot because it's true, right? So I started doing other things, and I saw 4 seasons of Prison Break in about 2 weeks. Right? So
Wow.
that tells you how much I was hooked,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I finished the whole Lost series. It
How
was
many
just
how
a
many
lot.
episodes was that?
Bro, don't even
It's a
ask,
lot.
man.
It's a good show too.
Yeah, put it this way. I was so depressed, I could have watched 15 seasons of Grey's Anatomy in probably like 3 weeks.
Wow.
Right?
You home all day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was home, bro. I was a homebody. But that's what I'm saying, right? So it was temporary. Then I was like, yo, listen, let me start praying. You know, like I got nothing to lose, right? So let me start praying. So I made a couple prayers. And see, the misconception is people feel like, oh, let me make a prayer here and there, or let me make like 3 prayers in a row, and I'm going to start feeling good. No, man, patience is key in the religion, right? Sabr,
You gotta
right?
be consistent.
Exactly. So what did I do? I didn't just give up after the 3rd or 4th prayer. I kept praying, and day by day, I felt better. You know, my situation was the same, but I felt better.
Right.
And what I felt was that inner peace.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people lack. They
Right.
don't know what it is,
Right.
but it's that inner peace. When you just sit there and at home and you're like, damn, like you feel like you need to do something.
Yeah.
And my brother taught me that.
Yep.
That's that inner peace that you're lacking.
Yep.
And it never made sense to me in the beginning until I actually felt it.
Right.
And he's like, inner peace is what the soul. The soul is what, and the only thing that's good for the soul is Islam. So with that is basically like when I was praying, my soul was just like, you know, it was clearing up, you can say.
Right. I also feel, just to touch a little bit more on that, I feel like
I talk a lot, by the way.
No, it's
fine.
fine. That's the
Exactly-
whole point
that's
of it.
exactly what it
We
is.
want to listen to you. Now, I feel like the bridge between dunya and deen, world and religion, I feel like it's almost adapting. Yeah, it's almost like adapting to a lifestyle. Because if you think about it, practicing, you know, your religion, the way it's meant to be, in a normal way, not on the extreme end.
Of course
of
not.
course.
Yeah.
It brings a really healthy routine.
Yep.
You know, like you mentioned about Fajr and your brother being late. That's a great example. I mean, there are times where I'm 95 on the Parkway running late, but if I wake up and do that, you know, it could translate.
It
And then
can
other
help you.
things, obviously, yeah. And then, you know, other habits change. Maybe you're spending less on extra stuff, extracurricular activities, and it just changes
You're
your
a product
lifestyle.
of your environment.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly
Let
what
me
it
ask
comes
you a
down to.
question on your journey with religion and how it fluctuated.
Yeah.
Being that you're such an opinionated voice, you know, influential person, is there any people that were influenced by your journey with Islam, or did
Yeah,
you?
I
give back to the
reverted almost
community?
10 people, alhamdulillah.
Oh,
know what I mean?
mashallah.
Whoa.
My brother got 100 and something.
You got to repeat that for the.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's converted, reverted, but it's technically reverted. Yeah, you know, I had a huge influence on a lot of people, and that's what I was trying to touch base on earlier, where it's like we have a purpose here, right? So we have to spread this message, but you have to lead by example.
Right.
In anything you do, you have to lead by example. A good manager is somebody who leads by examples. His employees will be happy with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's the same thing with Islam. So, you know, I was around a couple of people, and you know, and it, you know, they would just see that I was Muslim, but by name.
Right.
But once people actually start seeing that you are acting on your religion, they start to question it.
Right.
Whether it's good or bad, that's still publicity. At the
I
end
mean,
of
I
the
would never think, you know, the guy with the purple hat converted, you know,
Yeah, man.
people.
10
I mean,
people over
it's-
10. I would never think
it's-
so.
See,
as
that's
well.
the thing,
Never.
right? I love this. You know why? Because I was telling Kevin when we first met, and I'm like, you know, people probably like when he just met me through what was it?
The Saf.
Yeah, through Saf, right? A good friend.
Shout
of
out to
Shout out to
Sam
Saf.
one more time.
Great connect. He's really connected, that guy, man.
Yeah.
Because look, alhamdulillah, I'm here because of him.
Absolutely.
But, you know, we were talking through text. So, of course, you know, when you're talking to somebody, you're just like, yeah, I got to put a picture to this guy, right? So I was putting a picture to Kevin, but I couldn't think of what to put because he was just being like, you know, just answering regularly. So then I started thinking, I'm like, yo, he probably thinks this big bearded dude is going to come looking like Dumbledore with a toga, a kufi, and all of that.
Of course not.
after our
Of course not. Of course
yeah,
not.
Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? That's what it is, right? So when I walk into a place, they look at me, and of course, everybody's going to judge me, right? Especially the Desi aunties, right? They're like, oh, I would never give my daughter to him and stuff. You know,
Shout out to the Desi aunties.
you know, things
Kevin,
like
you're
that.
off the list.
Right.
Yeah. So
You're off
then
the market.
They're already looking at me weird. But then they find out, like, oh, he went to Umrah. Oh, he prays this many times a day. Oh, he did this. And it's like, oh, come here. Like, now we're all good. So I like dressing like this. This is what I'm comfortable in. This is what I'm
Hit
I'm
you with
used to.
surprise.
Yeah, you know
Surprise.
what I mean? But I could easily go in my trunk and throw on my thobe and my kufi, and then I'm still me. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I used to wear, in high school, my nickname was Kufi. Because I wore a kufi in high school. And, you know, because when I got to that school, everybody was telling me they're racist over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know, they're anti-Muslim. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I took that rather than me being aggressive. I was like, let me wear a kufi. I mean, kind of me was, the old me was kind of a little crazy. So I was like, you know what? Let me wear a kufi. So I started wearing it. And I still remember this day. I was in shop class. It was like my second week of school. And I had my kufi on. And a guy, I mean, he's my friend. But Cedric came up to me, right? And he was like, what you got on your head? You Jewish? And I was like, what? He's like, what you got on your head? And I'm thinking like, oh, I'm about to throw down because he's calling me
He's
out.
coming at me.
And I was like, nah, I'm Muslim. It's a kufi. He's like, what? A kufi? I'm like, yeah, it's a kufi. I'm like Muslims wear it. He's like, oh, a kufi. He's like, I like that. He's like, I'm gonna call you kufi from now on. So I was just like, wait, what the hell just
Wow.
happened? Right from there. The whole high school called me Kufi. If you look at my yearbook, it says Kufi. If you the deans knew me as Kufi, it'd be like, Kufi, stop doing this. Kufi, the security guards, even the principal. So it's
Right.
crazy because the mentality I have
Right.
is that, you know, like I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna do this, and this because they're anti-Muslim. Hell no.
Right.
You know, so like that was a younger me.
Right.
You know, that was just me being stupid.
The younger you now, and you're what 29 now, right?
Yeah.
All right,
tell
so-
her, you know.
Everybody knows now.
Everybody already knows.
I'm a young 29-year-old, you know.
Well, it's actually great. You know, it's actually refreshing to hear somebody say, you know, I've been working on the quality of my life for a long
Yeah,
time.
man.
Especially hearing it from somebody who's older than
Older,
me,
exactly.
because it gives me hope.
Yep.
I may not show it. You may look at me on the surface and be like, oh, he's got it all going, but if
E-
I hear
everybody
statements
has
like
their own
that-
demons.
Exactly.
Everybody has their own
Exactly.
issues.
So
Oh, wow.
come in.
I actually I say that a lot.
You like that quote, right?
I love that.
You know
Demons.
what I like? I like a quote that you made in your fourth video.
Okay.
It went like this. It said, "If you don't heal from those who hurt you,
Yeah.
you'll
You hurt?
bleed on those who didn't cut you." And that really hit the spot for
I
me.
wonder why.
That really hit the
That's
spot.
It
another
resonated.
topic.
It resonated. Yeah.
That's the off the camera topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it is also, man. I mean, I bet you 90% of the world could feel that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to experience heartbreak, everybody looks at it as negative. I look at it as a positive.
Right.
I got heartbroken. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I made that into something positive. I mean, it went on for
Do
a
you
while.
do you really truly believe that if you don't recover from those, you know, old quote unquote stab wounds or whatever you want to call it, you will eventually bleed and bring it into the baggage into your next portion
Kind
of
of,
your life?
of course, and that's why I was telling people like they need to take their time to themselves.
Rinse
after
it
a
off.
Breakup, yes, because it's like open wounds. You know what I mean? Until they healed, they're still open, so anything could trigger it.
Hmm.
So in your next relationship, if the person messes up once, sometime you might just lash out on them,
Hmm.
and it's like, what did I like? It's not that serious. Calm down. But it's just because you're still in pain
Right.
from the last one. That's why you need to take time for yourself, rebuild yourself,
Right.
find yourself again. We lose ourselves in relationships.
Right.
There's a lot of times where we start to change, you know, and it might be for the better, but sometimes it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So we lose ourselves, and then it's like once that person leaves, they take a part of us.
Right.
So it's like, wow, like that. Where am I going now? You know what I mean?
If you are now tuning in, you are listening to Shakil and Company on America's Islamic Radio, and we have Easy here, and we're going into a very, very, very deep conversation. So for you guys who are just joining in, it's getting deep.
I love this, man. I love this interview. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. It's,
Nah, you know
it's
what
a pleasure
I mean?
to have you.
Shad, Kevin, thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you
No,
guys.
thank you
know?
for showing up, man. This
Put it
is
like
great.
this, man.
course.
I couldn't do this interview by myself because it's going to be a heavy hitter interview. So
Yeah.
I brought Shah back on.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate
you know?
it. I actually that point in your fourth video that you were talking about loving yourself and about being hard on yourself. I personally, also struggled with that. I was extremely hard on myself. I mean, I had people telling me left and right, "Yo, you gotta calm down. Like you're being extra hard on yourself."
You see how other people notice that?
Yeah, and they'll
About you on yourself.
and you won't even notice it because you're so zoomed in.
Yeah.
You're so zoomed into the situation,
concentrate.
you don't notice it, and people notice these behavior patterns, and people are you're being way too hard on yourself. Talk a little bit about how important it is for people to love themselves, especially the men in the youth, just because I feel like there's not enough word out there that's supportive of them to be good to yourself, to be loving to yourself. Because in my own interview, in the end I said that if my cup is full, everybody's cup is full.
I like that line.
Right, and I really truly believe that, because
is.
if you don't love yourself, how are you gonna love somebody else?
See, the thing is, if you ask anybody that knows me, anytime they come to me for help, I'll help them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And regardless of what I got going on in my life. Put it this way, we're always going to have something going on in our life.
Right.
Or every one of us, we're always going to have something going on in our life. So it's not like, oh, nah, come to me next week or come to me later on because, right now I got my hands full. You're always going to have your hands full at the end of the day. But you have to be hard on yourself, but to a certain degree.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to love yourself because here's the thing, right? All my videos are kind of connected if you really think about it, right?
Right.
Now, you mentioned that, and I'm going to go to my second video
Yeah.
where it was about positive energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And expectations, right? So you have to have positive energy. Why? Because you're a product of your environment. If I'm in a great mood and I have great energy and you guys aren't, it will probably resonate to you guys.
Right.
If not, I'm going to make it happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't like being around negative people.
Sure.
I don't like being in a negative or toxic environment. That's
Sure.
how I am.
Sure.
I don't go to clubs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why? Because it's a toxic environment. I'll go for like once in a while for a friend's birthday. I used to go a lot before,
right.
but now it's like I'm in a different mindset. I love myself enough to know that if I go to a toxic environment, I might lose myself a little bit.
Sure.
I don't want to lose myself. You know why? Because I've built myself so much for the past 10 plus years that I've been building myself and trying to do better that now I don't want to look back. Nobody's going to knock me off. See, I tell people everybody's a product of your environment, and it's either good or bad, right? Most of the time it's bad, right? But it depends on how you look at it. So if you're a leader and you have strong will, I can be in any environment. You could take me to a bar, and I bet you I won't drink.
Right.
I put my whole life savings on the line, and people know this. I can be in any environment, but there's people that they're like, no, don't take me there.
Self-control.
Yeah, because you know
Self-control.
why? If somebody pressures me for a shot, I'm going to take it. I laugh at that because I'm like, yo, come on, bro, be strong. But then I realize, I used to laugh at that when I was younger.
Yeah.
Now I look at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, wow, wait, I shouldn't laugh at this person because they might be going through something. Or
Right.
they don't have that strong will. I do. You could put me in any circle. If I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it.
Sure.
And that's not me being cocky or anything like that. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
I've hit rock bottom
Right.
multiple times.
Right.
And when I say I hit it face
He
first.
said multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, I
Point
got
noted.
Yeah, I mean, look, I got scars, man. Some are visible, some are not. Some
There
are on
you
the
go.
outside, some on the inside.
you go.
We all do
There
at
you
the
go.
end of the day.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it'd be foolish for me to laugh at somebody for that. You know, everybody has a story. Jay-Z said it too. Everybody got a story. Yeah, I get OB. Here's mine.
Right.
Everybody has a story. So
Right.
when I try to get to know somebody, I want to know your story.
Right.
They'll be like, "What's my story?
Right.
What's your story exactly? Why? Who are you now?
Right.
Why are you like this?
Right.
Where did you come from?
Right.
Don't tell me, oh, I was born and raised. No. What made you who you are today?
Today, yeah.
What hardships did you go through?
Right.
Because that's how I look at somebody.
Let me
I
ask
look at
you,
the pain, not the love. I don't care about you being raised and having everything you want. That's not enticing to me. I want
Right.
to know what pain you went through,
Right.
what difficulties.
Right. And speaking of stories, I wanted to ask you this as I was watching all your videos. You just connected all the videos and all the dots together.
He basically
It,
did.
it just shows, how everything is in a rhythm.
If you haven't watched his videos, you don't have to anymore. I'm joking.
Damn. Yo,
go on the
interview's
YouTube
done, guys.
Shout out to the YouTube channel.
Exactly,
real quick.
definitely.
Shout
Shout
out
out.
to Ascension, man. Sponsor me. I do this all the time. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
So now, my question is the transition and the growth into projecting your voice. Because a lot of things you say, before you even finish your sentence, in my head, I'm like, I agree with them already. A lot of
Wow,
things you
thank
say
you.
because, I had my own personal revelation and I'm like, okay, I'm on the same page. May not be the same case for a lot of other people. But here's the thing with me. I personally couldn't, vocalize it to the point where I went out and made a YouTube channel, or I, put it out on a platform like that. The fact that you're vocal about it and you started the channel and all that, walk me a little bit through that journey. I mean, to vocalize all these emotions is a whole different battle than getting over them.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. I'm very quiet, Even my siblings will tell you, Hassan, don't talk much. You know what I mean? And it's not because, I don't want to talk to them. We have a great relationship, alhamdulillah, but it's like, I'm not going to tell them my struggles. They seen it, but I'm not going to tell them what I went through when, behind closed doors, because these are people that would do anything for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to tell them these things.
Right.
Why do I want them to look at what I went through, and then feel sad about it?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather just be like, oh, look, I'm doing great. You know what I mean? And just put on this whole facade.
Right.
Keyword. Like, you see, I put it on, but I don't put it on to society.
Right.
I put it on to those who care about me, which is my siblings and my parents. It's not a bad thing to have a facade, to, become somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on who you're showing it to. So at the end of the day, I'm doing it for a good reason. Just like anything you do has a good or bad reason, right? These are good reasons why I feel like I'm doing it. I'm not hiding it from the world. Somebody sees me down the block, yo, ain't you the guy that was depressed for 2 years? Yup.
That's me.
That's
Wow.
me.
Yeah.
Who cares? You want to judge me? Be my guest. I don't care to be judged. Look, it's not even my age. Look, anybody wants to look at me, go ahead. Yo, one of the speeches I gave, right? It wasn't even a speech, but a year ago I gave a talk. I was on the panel in an Islamophobia event in Queensborough Community College. I think I told Kevin the story, right? Why was I there? I wanted extra credit. You know what I mean? So my professor was like, look, if you attend this event, you get extra credit, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. I did it. What happened? I was on there. I met the doctor, whatever. She really wanted somebody to go on, and I was like, look, if you don't have anybody, I'll come. Like,
Just step up.
Yeah, I don't know what it's about. I mean, the title says Islamophobia, and that actually triggered me in a little way, and I went. So I was on the panel. I took my friend Justin with me that was going. He's Jamaican. And, it was a Pakistani guy. It was a female. She was part of the LGBT club. And then it was me and my friend Justin. And Justin got dragged on because of me. So we all introduced ourselves. And, now I'm looking at the whole auditorium. You know what I
Right.
mean? But as you can see, I love talking. I don't shy away. Like, I don't get nervous.
Oh, we can tell.
Yeah, I don't get nervous in the crowd. You guys can put your mics away. I got it from here. But, I started talking to, she was, like, asking me where I'm from and all of this. And, I spoke. And, I spoke for almost, like, 40 minutes, while the other people spoke for a couple minutes. But she kept coming back to me, and I'm like, yo, you're talking to the wrong one, girl, because I'm gonna talk.
Gonna keep going.
You know what I mean? Because this is the thing. If I'm passionate about something, for God knows, I'm going to talk about it. I'm passionate about Islam, family, TV shows, sports, music, and women. Not in that order. You understand? So these type of things I'm going to talk about. But if you try to sit here and talk to me about, the specs on a laptop and stuff, I'm going to be quiet because I don't know that.
Right.
I'm not one of those people that's just going to talk about certain things just to be in the conversation.
That's when you call it
understand?
instant solutions.
But I did that. So I was there, and she gave me the mic or whatever, and I'm talking. And, people are engaging. And I see, because I'm looking around in the crowd, and I see people, kind of interested. So I'm like, oh, they're interested in me. I'm going to keep talking.
Right.
I love talking.
Right.
So I kept talking, and then it came to a point where she was talking about, have I ever, did anything ever happen to me where somebody called me a terrorist? And I was like, alhamdulillah, no. You know what I mean? But I told them, I said, it's funny how a lot of people look at these things, right? And I gave an example. So I said, I'm short. You know what I mean? If Shah and me don't know each other, or even if we do, and he says, shut up, you short this, right? And he makes fun out of me. Now, if I retaliate and by punching him in the face and knocking him to the floor, people are gonna be like, "Oh wow, you shouldn't have hit him," but you know what? It's okay. He deserved it because he called you short. Or if he was talking bad about me, if he was talking about my family, right? So they're gonna look at me like, "Damn, you shouldn't have used violence," but it's okay. You know what I mean? It's understandable why I retaliated.
Justified.
Exactly. Now, if Shah calls me a terrorist and I respond by knocking his ass out the same way, now what happens? People are gonna look at me and be like, "Oh, you know what? He's Muslim, so he's angry, so that's why he did it." Not because, he called him something that he shouldn't have, but they look at it differently.
And you're kind of just solidifying whatever they said in the
It's a
first place.
perception.
Exactly.
It's
So
a
that's
perception.
and I see that, and I'm like, wow, people actually think like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's like they blame your religion
Right.
on your actions.
Are you looking into any programs where you could talk to the youth, where they're, especially maybe in the mosque or?
Mosque, not right now. I mean, I want to, but at the end of the day, right now, like I said, I have a middle school and a high school lined up, inshallah. So hopefully next month, I'm actually going to be attending these two schools, and I'm going to be talking to the students there.
Right.
And it's public schools.
Right.
So I'm going to be talking to people from all over.
Right.
See, the thing is, where I'm from in the Bronx, the only thing I knew was Puerto Rican, Dominican, and African American. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
black.
Right.
And some what's it called? Where are these people from? I can't even think right now. You know what I mean? But that's all I knew. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right.
and that's what it
And
comes down to.
having a laid back personality helps you connect also.
But see, that's all I knew, right? Then I
Right.
moved to Queens and I started meeting like Salvadorians
Right.
and people from Brazil.
Shout out to the Salvadorians.
Yes,
Yeah, right.
I have a bunch of friends that's from El Salvador.
Why'd you
know,
give that
La Mata,
shout out?
like.
Why'd you give that shout
Well,
out?
because one of the co-founders is a Salvadorian.
There you
I don't know
go.
if you know that.
Oh, I didn't know
American
that.
Islamic Radio was founded by me and Luis Mendez and Jorge Guzman, who are both El Salvadorian.
Yeah, I have friends like Danny, Mike, all these guys are Salvadorian, Charlie, you know what I mean, Smurf, that I knew from high school. So it's like I came to Queens, and Queens is so diverse,
Yeah.
And I'm talking like as if I'm a foreigner when I lived in Queens for half my life. But I'm just telling you, like, the difference between the Bronx and when I was there in the '90s compared to Queens now is like there's people from all over, and it's beautiful. Like, I met people from countries that honestly I'm not good at geography. I didn't even know existed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there like, oh shoot, like you from where? And they're like, oh, I'm from here, and I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? So like, even one of the first people that I reverted is a good friend of mine that was in high school with me. His name is Ivan. He's Dominican. You know what I mean? Recently, I converted one of my friends, Brian, who's Colombian. You know what I mean? So it's great, man. And I'm in the process of talking to a couple of other brothers too. But that's where it's not other people's fault of why Islam is looked at this like that too. It has a lot to do with us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I've been through stuff. I've done stuff, of course, in the past. But I everybody says, oh, it's my phase or it's my time and things like that. I didn't know any better. Maybe you guys don't either. But I try to tell people like, yo, stay away from these things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Like
what?
drinking.
Okay.
I'll use drinking as an example, right? So I tell people like, yo, you don't need all that, man. You know what I mean? But people like nowadays, bro. Like, I'm not trying to judge anybody or anything like that. Like, not at all. But a lot of Muslims drink. So it's like, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Of course, it's wrong at the end of the day. But that's between you and God. But what I'm saying is you gotta understand, if you're pissed drunk and somebody sees you and they're like, yo, aren't you Muslim? So they already know Muslims don't drink. Now they see you are a Muslim and you're drinking. How you think they're gonna look at the religion? They're gonna be like, yo, you're mocking the religion. So why should I give a hoot about your religion? If you are not, that's why I said lead by example.
Right.
And I mean that, man. You have to lead by example. So if I'm talking to all these brothers about Islam and trying to make them come over to Islam, they're gonna be like, yo, E, but you drink, or
Right.
E, you smoke bud, or E, I see you eat McDonald's. How's that gonna look? You think
Right.
they're gonna be comfortable?
Right.
No. But see, a lot of people like to talk to people about Islam, right? I feel like I'm a great candidate, right? And I learned a lot from my brother, right? And I mentioned that because it's true. But just by listening in on the conversations he had with people. But I twisted it around in my way too. I try to relate to people. So if you see me talking about Islam, I'm not a poster
You're
child.
not the poster child for Islam.
For Islam at all, right? But I have something that these cats can relate to, and that's just me being who I am.
Now, when you say that, I
I
have
know,
a question.
I know you got excited for
No,
that
I
one.
did. I definitely did. So now my question to you is:
Yes, sir.
do you think there's a disconnect between the elders in the masjid and the youth?
Of course, there's a disconnect with Muslims. Period, man. Like, we are not doing a great job. We're not. You know what I mean? I seen a lot of bars that I pass by sometime, or like my friends go there, and a lot of Muslims. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, what's going on with you guys, man?
You know what? I mean, do you think that is because we, like, let's say me and you, right? We rather go to a restaurant than go sit down in the mosque and have
I'd
a
rather go to
conversation.
hookah lounge. What?
Or we'd rather go to a hookah lounge to have a conversation opposed to going to the mosque, because I mean, if we go to the mosque, people are gonna be like, oh,
The mosque is a beautiful place, man. The feeling I get praying at home or anywhere else is not the same as the mosque. And when I go to the mosque, man, every time I go, and I love Masjid Swalihin, you know what I mean? But every time I go to any mosque and I pray, I feel lighter. And it's like people are like, yo, what the hell you mean you feel lighter? Same thing, like, what do you mean when you say inner peace? Like, not like you've been to Umrah, right? It's basically like when I go to masjid, I have that Umrah feeling. Where there's not a care in the world. I'm not stressed about anything. I'm not thinking about anything. I just feel light, like a feather. You know what I mean? But inside, my soul feels good.
Yeah.
My soul feels good. And that's a difference, right? So it's like we aren't doing our job as Muslims to spread the knowledge. And even if we are trying to spread the knowledge, make sure you lead by example then.
Right.
So people look at me, and it's not even about the things that I do, or it's just who I am.
Right.
Like they know I'm not one to BS you. You know what I mean? They know me, so they're like, all right, if he's talking about this and he's passionate about this, I gotta listen.
Sure.
And that's what it comes down to.
So speaking of spreading that knowledge, in your journey of reverting or converting some of your friends, what would be one of the hardest state of minds to kind of play with in somebody? Because a lot of changing, if you do and you're already past your 13, 14, 15 years of age, your grounding is kind of solid at that point.
Yeah.
And to change someone's whole perspective on that, what are some of the things that you think people struggle with? Or they're looking to latch on to when they're looking for hope.
Like in terms of Muslims, what are they?
Yeah.
The truth, man. The proof is in the pudding. Like, I tell people, and I'm not trying to,
The
again,
truth is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Wow.
like, I'm not judging, but a lot of the Muslims that I see personally, all right, are reverts. It's not us that got lucky that we're born into this religion. It's the reverts that you see constantly doing good. And it's like they know the truth now, right? So it's like, bro, you were born into this.
Right.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Already.
You know what I mean? Like, I always tell myself, and this is just my theory, right? There's two ways you'll be happy in this world, right? Either one is if you really connected to God, and number two is if you really go with your parents. Because there's cats that I see, and you're like, damn, bro, you always happy. How's that happening, right? And you start to think, like, what do you really got going? And sometimes they just go with their parents. The key to heaven is under your mom's
Under your mother's
footsteps,
feet,
you know?
yep.
So shout out to all the moms and the dads. But it's not about how you're raised only. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, oh, wow, I wasn't raised like... Bro, I wasn't either.
Right.
I got hit with a reality check.
Right.
You know what I mean? My family in whole, we didn't really, like... I don't like using the word religious, but we weren't pious.
Well, honestly, all this work, all these videos, all this talk that you've started, it's all about starting a dialogue. That's half the battle right there. And I can tell you from a personal standpoint that if I've been around the block in my own time, and if it hit me in a sweet spot, that means it's definitely getting the message across.
Definitely.
I appreciate
You
that.
know?
I gotta shake
And
your
it
hand.
got to
really
me too.
appreciate
Exactly.
that.
You know
It got to me.
It's definitely and whatever is in our power to spread the word. I'm always giving him shout outs and stuff, and I
appreciate that.
I really believe in that support system. It's like somebody opening a little business, a small business.
Yep.
Your friend. It's almost like your duty to go and support.
Support.
Them. Yeah.
Yep.
And touching more again back to the whole online Big Brother situation, I think it's very necessary. I think it's almost crucial that we have someone, or if not multiple people, in that limelight. If that's what the kids are looking up to.
I think
People want to fit in, man.
Yeah.
not even that. I think after this interview, I think we're gonna have a discussion about how we can set that up.
Absolutely.
That was a great
100%.
idea, and it works out. And I think we should definitely set that up.
I think there's some nice books in this guy's future.
Yeah, I think so as
Author,
well.
the quotes that
Yep.
he's randomly slipping in, we catch that.
And that's that's where music comes to play too. Music has a lot, because if you look at even my Instagram photos, everything underneath is quotes
From music.
Either music or like. And I actually did poetry, so I have a few videos. I went twice to it was like a bar that they had open mic night, and I went there with some of my friends, and I did poetry. So I was just standing there, and I literally did poetry. So I did
Right.
I think I have eight of them written down, and this was prior to the videos.
Right.
So that was kind of a step that I took
Right.
before I did the videos, where I'm like, hold on, I gotta get some things off my chest.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? And I did some poetry stuff, and one of them was about life too, and how people overlook it. But the main problem is a lot of Muslims, they feel that disconnect from Allah, right?
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're filling that in with temporary relief. So the things that they're filling it in with sometimes are weed, sometimes are alcohol. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, that's not the way to go, man. If you're going through something in life like I went through, those are not the solutions. The
Right.
solutions is the connection with Allah.
Right, and there are now people that you can talk to, that you could just DM.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
like me.
So that's
You
the
know what I mean?
platform
Slide
I
in
didn't
it.
have, but now it's out there thanks to Easy. So
But that's what it comes down to. So just know, at the end of the day, that it's not just that it's wrong in the religion, but you're not helping yourself. That's temper. Well, yeah, you can get high for an hour, right? But when that high wears off, what's gonna happen? Then you're back to reality.
Right.
So what are you gonna do? Either you're gonna smoke again or not, right? So I'm telling you, there's a better solution, which is get closer to God. Just be
Right.
patient, get closer to God, talk to God. That's what a lot of people lack. And I tell you from experience, right? My brother always told me, talk to God. See, I keep bringing up my brother. He's probably gonna be like, wow,
he's in your
that's
mind.
the most I spoke about him, right? But in general, right? He always told me talk to God. I'm like, what the hell you mean? I'm talking to God. I'm praying, ain't I? But he's like, no, talk to God. After your prayer, sit down. Don't just rush and leave.
Right.
So I was like, all right. And I would notice when I actually stayed after a prayer, everybody else is rushing out, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stay. And I would sit there and I just put my head down, or I go in sajda and I talk to God. And Allah knows our problems at the end of the day, but we have to talk about it. It's like my cousin told me even last night, right? My cousin Nas, and he was like, "I'm gonna help you, but you have to make the first step."
Right.
And I laugh inside when he says that because I'm like, bro, I love that line, but it's true. So it's the same thing. Allah like knows what's going on with us, but until we address it, it's not gonna be addressed.
Right.
So that's what it comes down to. So at the end of the day, people listen. Stop trying to fit in.
Right.
A lot of people drink, because of problems, but a lot of people drink because everybody else is doing it. Misery needs company. It's in my other video, right?
Right.
And that's true. My fifth video states that misery needs company. Whoever is miserable, they latch on to whoever else is miserable.
I'm just glad that you took that aspect of you being vocal and turned it into something so positive.
Now, my next question to you is, when's your next video dropping, and what's it going to be about?
Oh, man, they want a sneak peek. Inshallah, tonight or tomorrow is dropping. And it's I have a couple of topics. We're gonna come out with like a couple videos very soon, within a week. One of them is bullying. You know what I mean, and not just physical.
That's a
bullying.
very, very...
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's gonna get real. Another one is communication, and another one is insecurities.
You
which
have
we
my
all
support.
have.
You have my
We all
support on
have.
all those topics.
I appreciate that, but that's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? So all these are gonna be linked, and I don't get too deep, like as I did in the interview, but I don't get too deep in the videos because it's the beginning. It's gonna get deeper as I go on.
Sure.
You know, like my last video, no, the video before is when I openly spoke about my depression, which I never made anything personal in the first 3 videos.
Right.
But now it's like I'm starting to incorporate my lifestyle.
That's
and
dope.
stuff
So
inside.
make sure you let people know about American Islamic Creating. You
Of
definitely got
course,
to
man, this is
support.
a great platform.
And we
man. I
definitely
have
gonna have
fun.
you back. We're definitely gonna have you back.
I appreciate
Once you,
that.
once you drop a couple of videos, you coming back. We're gonna talk about that topic.
You know, and a key part of this, there's a lot of people involved in this project. You know what I mean? But a key part is Furkan, who's sitting right there, aka DJ Poster Child.
Shout out.
You know, I've known this guy for years, and I feel like I'm an older brother to him. You know what I mean? I love the guy. You know, and like he like for me to ask somebody for help is big. I asked him for help, and he did it with open arms, and he dealt with my crazy ass in the beginning. And he knows I'm very vocal
Language.
too. Oh, sorry. He knows how crazy I can get, but he stuck with it. Even the first video, man, we did about like 30 takes. And, it's not called take 2 because we had so many takes. It's called take 2 because I tell people, like, take a second. Like, take 2 for yourself. Take 2 minutes. Like, take a step back. A lot of us just rush into things.
That's the YouTube channel name, Take
Yes,
2.
you take 2.
Yeah.
And a lot of people rush into things. And alhamdulillah, he's been great, man. And, I asked him for certain days, and he's there. He's done everything on his part.
DJs are busy, man.
Yeah, man. I
DJs are
mean,
busy. They're just on the road caking it these days.
But I got a lot of love for him, and sometimes I come down on him hard too, and I try to voice my opinion to him about life, and instead of like responding back negatively, he takes it in.
So we all need that. All need that guidance.
That's what I'm saying. So like I have somebody like him that I feel comfortable talking to, and telling him like, yo, you're doing this, this, and this. We all should be doing that. Especially the Muslim community, not being like, yo, what bar should we hit up tonight, or what hookah lounge should we hit up tonight? I smoke hookah all the time. I smoke hookah all the time, but at the end of the day, if you have a bond and if you care about somebody and you see they're not doing well, you should voice your opinion to them. Because you know why? That's where, unfortunately, I mean, I'm being dramatic, but that's how suicides occur and stuff. Because these people don't have nobody to talk to. They're dealing with pain inside, and that's what happens. Like last night, I was at my cousin's place, Remedy Lounge, and they were playing Kalhonaho. You know what I mean? And I remember seeing that movie years ago, right? And basically what happens is towards the end, they realize that the husband committed suicide because he was having an affair. You guys know the movie with Shut Up,
Yeah,
right?
and he had a baby.
And exactly, and all of that. and she said, I love that man, like he was a good man, right? But he didn't really have nobody to talk to, so it was eating him alive, inside alive,
yeah.
of what he did.
It's-
His constant, like, you know,
Yeah.
and he was killing himself for it.
Yeah.
So that's what happens to us. We go through something negative, rather than reaching out to somebody, we just feel like we can handle it, or we just let it just linger on the side. And that's why I started this channel. Don't hold that in, brother. Let me know. If you don't have your friends to talk to because they don't want to talk to you or they laugh at you, I'm here. You know, shout out to Remedy Lounge though.
Well, you guys have been tuning
That's
to
on Union
Shakil.
Turnpike.
You guys have been tuning to Shakil and Company on American Islamic Radio. We had a wonderful time. We learned a lot from you, Easy.
I
I
appreciate
was glad
that.
to have you. Shad, thank you
Pleasure.
for joining for this interview.
Pleasure. Always
Next
a
time I
pleasure.
can touch base on Islam more.
Inshallah, inshallah.
You know?
We'll get
And
there.
for you viewers, thank you guys for tuning in. Please make sure you
appreciate
share
it.
this and let everybody know about American Islamic Radio and how you can support. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
So, like,